What's up, folks? Benito El Jefe here, and I have with me a green laser pointer. And I got this puppy on Amazon.com for about 20 bucks, and it's pretty darn powerful, as you can tell. Now, you're probably wondering, wow, that's pretty cheap for a pretty powerful laser pointer. Why is it so cheap? Well, it's because this thing is pretty poorly made. It doesn't have an infrared filter in there like the good ones have. Now, you're probably wondering, why does it need an infrared filter if it's a green laser pointer? Well, that's what I'm going to show you. So, without any further ado, let's check out the laser lab. Okay guys, we're about to enter the laser lab, so no more fooling around. The number one rule of the laser lab: safety first. Always wear your laser goggles. When you first walk into the laser lab, you see some pretty cool stuff. I know, it can look pretty cluttered, but it's all there for a reason. A common thing to find in the laser lab is a prism. A prism is used to separate the colors of light, and I'm going to shine my green laser pointer through the prism and see what happens. As you can see, the beam gets deflected, but there's more happening here than meets the eye. To the naked eye, the beam looks like a bright spot on the wall, but if we use an infrared camera, we can see that it actually is composed of 3 separate spots. The spot on the left is the green spot that we can see with our eyes, but the 2 other spots are infrared and we can't see them. To emphasize this point, I put a visible filter in front of the beam, and so no visible light can get through the filter. And yet, when we look through the infrared camera, we see that there is indeed a spot from the infrared that gets through the filter. Now I set up an experiment where I shine my green laser pointer through the prism and then send it towards a power detector. The power detector will tell me exactly how much green light is coming out of the laser pointer and how much infrared light is coming out as well. As we see before, the light is separated into green and infrared, and so when I put the power detector in front of the green beam, we can see how many milliwatts there are of green light. That's 8 milliwatts of green, and the infrared is clearly missing the power detector. Now we move the power detector into the infrared beam and away from the green beam, and we see that we get 6 milliwatts of infrared, almost as much as green. Well guys, our trip to the laser lab has shown us that this laser pointer emits about as much infrared light as it does green light. That's because the nonlinear crystal inside the laser pointer doesn't convert all of the infrared to green, and there isn't an infrared filter at the end of this thing, so some of the infrared light gets through. And that's why there's about as much infrared light as there is green coming out of this thing.